Everyone, this is Nikachu, Merfolk Master, and I'm here with my brother as we play Modern Merfolk Mono Blue. Still can do it, let me tell you. Merfolk is just as strong as ever before, maybe the strongest it has been in a very long time, and I'm going to show you how it's done. If you want to learn the ways of playing Merfolk like a master, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Before we get into our deck tech, we're going to thank our sponsor, the ManaBase.com. And for a recap of the last 6 months of Cube cards, go check out Cubism by Aaron Paquette, only on the ManaBase.com, your home base for everything Magic the Gathering. And I'd like to thank all my new patrons supporting me on Patreon. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. So I would like to very much thank, first, Quovada Bass, Joshua Washburn, and Shelby Lampert. Thank you so much for supporting my channel, supporting Merfolk, and, you know, just in general, thank you so much for supporting this channel. It's quite amazing, the support and love for this deck. So, yeah, and one last thing we gotta do, we gotta figure out who's gonna win the Lord of Atlantis Cooking Shrimp giveaway, and the winner to that is, bow. This person that I haven't decided. Well, you see it now. I'll know with you when I edit it in. Don't worry, we're not stopping the giveaways. No, we're still moving forward. We've got Curse Catcher serving a Lantern from Lantern Control. That deck is dead now. No one's playing it. Why? Because it's been killed and is now being served by the Curse Catcher. So if you want to be eligible to win this Curse Catcher serving a Lantern from Lantern Control, go check out the description below for details on how to do that. So, now with that all being said, the deck still has not changed. I don't see a big reason to do it yet. Mistcaller, well, I said earlier, should we be looking at Curse Catcher to deal with the Arclight Phoenix decks? But there actually are so many different variations of this Arclight, I believe it's called Arclight Phoenix, that, you know, the decks just lean on it really hard, and Mistcaller can pretty cleanly deal with it. I mean, of course, you can, like, kill the Mistcaller before Arclight comes around. But then if you try to kill it, though, I can still sacrifice the Mistcaller, and you better not have cast 3 spells that turn. And then if you don't cast any more spells, then you're just wasting your spell count before you play before the next turn comes around. So Mistcaller still interacts with those red decks. Still interacts with humans and spirits. It's the early 1-drop that you want. Dredge is still out there. You have to beat Dredge. So still going to sit on Mistcallers. So for the most part, I really still like the list. There are 2 parts of this list I am not 100% confident in. So the first one is Peak versus Spell Pierce in the main. And like, if you look at the big decks, you look at Dread. Like I told you before a long time ago, Peak, not good against Burn, not good against Graveyard decks. And now the Burn deck is now like a Burn and Graveyard deck. Not only that, Dredge is still around, and Peak not really useful against humans. You don't want to be spending 1 blue looking at their hand. It's not that useful. You know they're just going to put a bunch of creatures out, and you just have to put a bunch of power down yourself. And on top of that, same situation with spirits. I mean, it's sort of nice to know if they have Spell Queller, but Spell Pierce can interact with banned spirits, I think, pretty well. You can counter Aether Vial, you can counter Path to Exile, and you are pretty live to counter Collected Company. They have a lot of mana, but you know what? The matchup is really fast-paced, and they're probably going to need to get that Coco off as soon as possible, and they're not going to have the time to curve out to get out of range of Spell Pierce. So with those 4 big decks in mind, I feel like, and another thing is, okay, so with those 4 big decks in mind, it's a huge move towards Spell Pierce instead of Peak. Peak and Spell Pierce are both dead against humans, basically, but Spell Pierce interacts very favorably against Dredge. Spell Pierce interacts very favorably against all the new red decks that are really popular and just taking the metagame by storm. Spell Pierce playable against banned spirits, even though it's not amazing. And Spell Pierce, you know, good all around, still playable against Jund, Black Green Axe. I mean, it's playable. I don't love it in those matchups, even though we are playing with Tectonic Edge. Still good against Tron, which is still around. There's still combo decks out there, so Peak is also good against the combo decks, but I'm just saying against the big decks of the format, it feels like I might want Spell Pierce more than I want Peak. And another thing that's pushing me away from Peak right now is Control has disappeared. I don't even know where it is, and I know it's collapsing in numbers, and it might be the result of all these red decks and Dredge. Like, what can they do about it? I mean, Rest in Peace is not enough to beat Dredge. Dredge beats can beat Rest in Peace. It's possible. They've got the tools. They've got Nature's Claims. They've got Assassin's Trophy. Or they might have a really good fast start on the play before you even cast the Rest in Peace. So I that's a consideration, and if the metagame moves enough in a direction where Control disappears, because I think Peak and Spell Pierce are both very good against Control, that I might want to swap Spell Pierce for Peak. I really don't want to remove Peak from the deck, as weird as that sounds. It sounds really weird to put Peak in the sideboard, but I think it's possible that you could do this. So now, with that in mind, that I said that Control is on its way out. Like, I haven't seen Control. I mean, like, in the games that you're watching me play, you don't see any Control, and I'm looking at the data. Control is starting to shrink in favor of all these other crazy shenanigans in Modern. Tectonic Edge loses a lot of value if Control is not in the metagame. The only thing I like Tectonic Edge against is Tron. So if, let's say, there's no Control, then these Tectonic Edges are not necessary. And because there are a lot of fast decks like Human Spirits, Dredge, the Arclight Phoenix decks, this Tectonic Edge could be a Gemstone Caverns, and I could have, I don't know what the last card in the sideboard could be, but it could be a Gut Shot, it could be a Spell Pierce. Probably a Spell Pierce, so I still have interaction against Tron, because I'm taking out two pretty good Tron cards. Also, it's interaction against Control, just in case I do play against it, because Tectonic Edge formerly were my Control cards. So those are two things I'm going to be looking at. We might see a return of Gemstone Caverns. I actually think Gemstone Caverns is it's decently well positioned right now, given the speed of the format. You really want to get mana out fast, so Gemstone Caverns is sort of like the fifth Ether Vial of the deck. I think Surgical is still great, not really considering changing this for anything else. Love Surgical. Love all the numbers, otherwise. Would love to fit more Mara Regeries, I guess. And maybe it's something I would consider if Control really disappears. If Control is on its way out, then I will find room for more Mara Regeries. Probably. That's probably what's going to happen. So, yeah, the deck... I have no complaints yet about the deck. I went 4-3 last week, but because I made a huge punt with Surgical Extraction. So just let everybody know, if you cast Surgical Extraction online, you're going to then have access to your opponent's library, but you still, after your opponent has let it resolved, you still have to choose all the cards to put it in exile, and that's something I did. I like surgically extracted a Dark Blast, and Surgical Extraction, my opponent let it resolve, and then I forgot to exile the one Dark Blast that they had, because somehow I just thought it was already targeted. I didn't have to put it into exile, so I let Surgical Extraction resolve completely without actually removing anything, which was my demise last week, so let's not do that again. So anyway, that is our deck. Let's get ready for round one. So this hand is great. We're going to keep it. It's great so long as we're not playing against a combo deck. We have, like, no interaction for any particular combo deck. Except for maybe Titan Shift. We've got the Phantasmal Image, copy the Primeval Titan. Same thing with Amulet Titan. Just copy it. Copy those things. Things and stuff. And we're on the play. So, all things considered, we're going in the right direction here. Everything's good. And we have a Master of Waves. So we can conceivably go from, like, Ether Vial to 2 to 3 to 4 with the Master of Waves.
Not anymore.
Well, you can't take the Master with Inquisition of Kozilek.
Why not?
Inquisition only takes cards that are 3 mana or less. Master is 4.
I had no idea.
Invincible! This is also invincible. So any one of these is possible. If they want to slow us down, they'll take the Master of the Pearl Trident, because that's the only thing that we can play next turn. It's the only thing we can play. Because we can't play Phantasmal Image on an empty board. But it's not too bad. And we're up against this black-green X deck, and I like having I like having Ether Vials in this deck post board because it makes Phantasmal Image so much more playable. Well, I could play the Mistcaller into Phantasmal Image, but this is a really poor use of the mana. And given that I don't have... Currently, it doesn't look like I'm going to have the mana to go from... to curve out into Mirror Regery Master Wave, so I'm just going to take the Ether Vial up all the way to 4. Hopefully
pass. Come on.
Hopefully that is not a mistake. Dark Confidant! That's interesting, because we can definitely copy that. It's not a bad thing to copy at all.
Non-Bobby version.
The non-Bobby version. The emo version. Alright, Miss Caller. Do your stuff. Which is going to be nothing in this match.
No, you don't know.
Lord of Atlantis, not bad. Yeah, just gonna have to play the Lord of Atlantis. We'll attack for 2. If the non-Bobby blocks, then we can Violent Phantasmal Image copy the Lord of Atlantis. Besides that, I'm gonna try hard to copy this Dark Confidant so that we can draw some cards.
Ooh.
Scavenging Ooze, very clunky card right now. Liliana the Veil, that's totally fine. Ticking up would be very interesting. Target player sacrifices a creature, so I will sacrifice the Mistcaller.
Doink.
All right, let's make a Bobby. I mean, it's not too bad. Actually, yeah, do you know what? It's really good because the threat of Maelstrom Pulse is much stronger. So here's the thing. I really want the Dark Confidant trigger to resolve first over the Ether Vial. So how do I do that? It's been a while. I believe I touched the Ether Vial trigger first. This will, yeah, and then, so if I say, let's say we draw a land, which I do not, I can opt to put the Ether Vial, take the Ether Vial out. So, that being said, I'm still going to take the Ether Vial out. Oh, is this a mistake now? Nah, we're going to do it anyway. The thing is, if we're going to draw like a ton of cards, then... Oh, that's pretty good. Merfolk Trickster. Because we can play Merfolk Trickster, kill the Liliana. Or maybe I'm just going to try to kill the Liliana with Lord of Atlantis. If block, Violin Mirror Regery. I might end up vialing in Mirror Regery no matter what, just so that I can get this Merfolk Trickster online. Because what I can do is tap their 1 green source at their upkeep, because it doesn't look like they have a lot of green sources. Okay, so Liliana down.
Another one on the way.
The other thing I could do is just play Silvergill Adept and hold the Merfolk Trickster for a much more important time. Do you know what? Maybe that's just better. Can I do anything with this Vial? I can untap. I can Vial in Mirror Regery, untap. Nothing really. Okay, so I'll just put the Mirror Regery into play at end of turn. Peak is going to be very good. It's going to be great. So we can potentially attack for a lot of damage next turn, and then a lot more on the way. And with Peak in mind, we were going to be able to play around our opponent's holdings the best that we can. With our
Here comes another Inquisition.
So what did they show? They showed Scavenging Ooze. They have an Overgrown Tomb. They got to be concerned about Dark Confidant too. Oh, here's Tarmogoyf. That is going to suck in the face of Merfolk Trickster. Okay, two Tarmogoyfs.
Regery triggers.
And hopefully there will be. Again, Vial resolves last. So we got another Silvergill Adept. It doesn't change our situation. I'm going to tick this thing up to 4 because we've got Master of Waves on the way. That's great because now I can play...
Peek on a creature.
Oh, I can play... Yeah, I can empty the hand, actually. Your Bobby works for me now. Okay, so... So we know they've got a Scavenging Ooze. I would ideally... Well, it's hard to use this Merfolk Trickster, to be honest. It's hard to use it. It's hard to use the Merfolk Trickster. So... Another thing I can do is I can play Silvergill Adept on tap a land, see what we draw, then reevaluate from there. I'll show Master of Waves because they know about this card. Okay. I guess another thing I could have done was peeked. I already had the land. Okay, that line is dead. But we could peek first to see how much room I have to just make a big attack, like play Merfolk Trickster, tap down Tarmogoyf with Marujiri's Trigger, tap down Tarmogoyf with a Merfolk Trickster. If I attack with everything... What can I attack with? I can attack with all these guys. I can attack for potentially... How much? This is... 10, 12 damage? It's a lot of damage, and Dark Confidant might kill our opponent. I really want to see what's in their hand, though, before we make any sudden moves. What I can do, though, is I can attack with Silvergill Adept. If they choose to block with one Tarmogoyf, I can Merfolk Trickster it. Or maybe that won't work. If they double block with if they block with both Tarmogoyf, something's going to die.
I would just put that Trickster in now. Use the 2 triggers. Can't block with nothing except Bobby.
Attack with everything. They probably have to block with Bobby. I don't think they have any sweepers in their deck. Okay, do you know what? That's a really... It's just a really strong line in general. And they're tapped out. So this might be our best opportunity to get in a big attack, get ahead. And even if they have an answer to Master of Waves, well, they're not going to... Well, for example, they're not going to have any Fatal Push Revolt trigger this turn.
3.
For exchanging. Well, they're definitely not going to resign. They have at least a chump block to make. Like, what... Okay, if they let's say they trade with Dark Confidant, they take 10 damage, they go to 4. They have to deal with this enormous board and Master of Waves. It's a lot to ask for, and they're not going to. And because they have to chump block with Dark Confidant, they're not going to get another draw. So Scavenging Ooze can hit the battlefield, but you know what's it worth? Yeah. Okay. We didn't even have to use Peek that game. So, they have Dark Confidant, so we're going to bring in Gutshot. Like, I don't even know if this is... Like, the Rock decks these days, they're not even playing... I don't see them playing Dark Confidant. They're playing usually with Tireless Trackers, so this is unusual to see for me. I'm going to take out an Island. I'm going to take out 1 Ether Vial. I'm going to bring in the Tectonic Edge. I don't really consider the Tectonic Edge as lands. I consider them mostly spells. Mistcaller is miserable. What am I doing against Rock?
Paper, generally.
Yeah. Just quickly look. I bring in a Venser and a Tectonic Edge. Really? I'm keeping all... Oh, I see, yeah, because normally I don't see Dark Confidant. So I'm going to bring in One Venser's fine. I'm gonna bring in 2 gut shots. Maybe we'll keep 2 mist callers. They have no real purpose though. Okay, we'll just have 2 for creatures. Not that great. Helped a little bit in this matchup, put some pressure. I don't think they have any practical purpose though. It's possible Deprive is better than the Mist Callers. Definitely I need some gut shots for the Dark Confidant. You can just lose to Dark Confidant. It's terrible. It's just awful. And another thing about this matchup, always take the draw. I know we won. We were on the play and we won, but they're a grindhouse. Unless this isn't what we think it is, it might just be Jund. It like really could just be Jund. This hand's good. I like it.
It's fantastic.
But with Hissing Quagmire, it's much more likely to be a rock deck. Yeah, now we got Gutshot. Gutshot, making me look like a genius since I don't know how long.
1999.
Yeah. Something important about your hand, you disguise the strength of your hand if you draw your cards first and then play your... Like, I'm going to definitely play Gutshot, but if I play Gutshot first, it makes my hand look weaker because this is going to be a random card. Whereas if you disguise the strength of your hand the most by drawing a card first and then using your removal spells. And next turn, I'm probably going to play Silvergill Adept. Oh, don't Slam Choke. I like Tireless Tracker. Not happy to see that either, but...
Bounce with bounce. Oh.
I think I'm going to play it.
Just get it out of your hand.
Tireless Tracker is a card-drawing machine. But so is Spreading Seas. We have this Tectonic Edge. I think I'm going to disguise the Tectonic Edge for now. Oops. Tireless Tracker depends on lands being played. Well, looks like there's going to be a land. So 2 clues off the Tireless Trackers. We are probably in a lot of trouble. So this is worse than Dark Confidant, to be honest.
Can Venser bounce one of those guys?
Yes. Yes, it can. I guess that's just what I'm going to do. This is the most efficient use of my mana. Yes. Yes. You have Tectonic Edge ready for the next non-basic land you play. Another Tireless Tracker. This is ridiculous. Well, we can stabilize a little bit. We can bounce a tracker, block the other one. And this is a pretty nice tempo swing.
Probably didn't see that Venser coming.
Fatal Push. So something did leave the battlefield. More clues to be cashed in. But I can take... What do I want to... Maybe... I can make my own tracker now. Maybe that's just what I'm going to do. Here's the problem. The Mana Screw plan doesn't work very well when your opponent has a lot of cards to draw. It's a very poor plan.
But who doesn't have land to play the creatures that those cards draw?
Well, the lands can come from their hand. That is interesting because we could play Mirror Regery next turn, play Phantasmal Image, copy the Mirror Regery, and then... oh no, it won't work. I thought we could play Mistcaller, get a double trigger, then cast Silvergill Adept, but that's still not enough It's too much mana. Actually, maybe we should just went for the green source. But I'm behind here. I think our route to winning is through playing creatures and hoping they stick. I'll show the Mist Caller. That is going to help a lot. The Merfolk Trickster, that can buy us a lot of time.
Does Tireless Tracker have trample?
No. Okay. So, I guess the plan is keep them off all black mana. Hopefully they can't play removal spells. They might start cracking clues. These Tireless Trackers can get really big really fast. Every single time they sack a clue, Tireless Tracker is going to get a +1/+1 counter.
How many clues can they sack per turn?
It costs 2 mana. Oh. So they can sack 2 clues a turn. And each clue that they sacrifice draws a card. Pretty good! Not bad. If they turn these Tireless Trackers into 5/5s, I think we're just going to take it. We're going to go down to 2, and then hope that we can live after that. We're in range of Collective Brutality, but I can't win by blocking. Like, I think we need to now get a bit greedy here with our lines.
Greedy or careless?
Well, you know, when you're down, you need to find a way to win the game. Too bad we don't have 1 more mana, so we're going to take the damage. Maybe they're going to play the other tracker. Maybe a Tarmogoyf. Oh, ooh. Okay. So that is problematic because it'll blow up all the Spreading Seasons. We can destroy lands, though. I don't think I have any option. I have to play Mararegery. And I'm going to play Merfolk Trickster on their turn, tap a Tireless Tracker, tap the other thing down. I'll play Peak at some point. Like this is the only way I just don't die outright.
Gonna be useless. Pump them up.
Well, land is useful here. Well, that's gonna force me to play the Merfolk Trickster. Tap down Tireless Tracker. And then I'm going to let it resolve. They take the image, and they take the image. I don't want to play Peak, because if I draw a spell better, like let's say I draw, well, I can't draw Master of Waves. So that's interesting. Let's say I think Master of Waves is my best chance of winning. Then playing Peak is better. I'm just going to let this resolve. In general, when you play Peak, if I were to play Peak before Inquisition resolves, then if I draw a card better than Phantasmal Image, then that's what they're going to take. Tireless Tracker and 2 Liliana the Veils. Okay. Well, I guess we knew about the tracker. That is great.
Slow him down another time.
It is, and I can still use the Tectonic Edge to blow up this other thing. I guess I shouldn't have played the land.
Too late.
So, okay, engineered explosives is going to blow up everything. Except, well, blow up the Merfolk Trickster and stuff. They're going to draw one extra card.
Lame.
At least we build this thing up. It's fine. These things don't matter. We still hit for a healthy amount of damage. This is 7 damage. We have lethal next turn. We've got lethal. If they play Liliana the Veil, that could be the last thing that they play this game. This is critical. They had no removal spell. This is really critical, and their hand is super clunky. Okay, they're going to try to attack, but it's going to be thwarted.
3, 2.
This is the synergy of Merfolk Trickster and Merfolk.
Pretty sick. You don't get that with Tireless Track.
This color is actually playing a part here. So even if they tap out, play Tireless Tracker, we're attacking for more. By our opponent's speed, I think we've won this.
He's probably so angry.
Probably. This start was amazing. 3 Tireless Trackers. How could that go wrong? You have 4 clues on the board. I feel like something went wrong for our opponent.
Get salty. Come on.
Show the salt.
Yeah.
My breakfast needs seasoning.
You rock players.
Yeah. Okay, so they can't do anything. They're going to crack a clue, which means they're looking for a removal spell. But even if you find a removal... Okay, they could find Collective Brutality. Collective Brutality would kill the Merfolk and gain some life. That's the only thing that they can do. And then we're forced to top deck a Lord. Oh, this is over. This is the most over I've seen over. Yeah. I mean, it was over anyway. If they had a removal spell for Merfolk, we're attacking for 5. So, yeah, that's game 1. Game 1 in the bag. Easy peasy against Rock. And that's why you want to be on the draw. You need to be able to outgrind these people. This was sort of a magical game. I don't know, we had, like... I don't know. I don't even know how we won this one. The 2 Tireless Trackers on the board. Maybe... No, I don't know. I don't know what was better for our opponent. But I think we played the best that we could. We were on the draw. We had a constant flow of gas coming. I don't know if Peak played a big part in this game. Or maybe it... Because we were put in a situation where we just have to do whatever we can to win. And that is something I think... people have to look at more. When you're in a bad situation, you have to play to win. You can't play to lose. And in this game, where our back is up against the wall, the Tireless Trackers are coming in for the attack. There's a billion clues on the board. How do we win this game? So I said we're going to Spreading Seas the black mana so that the removal isn't going to touch the creatures that we do have in play. And we magically drew like a few Merfolk Tricksters to tap everything down and get the points in. So like you got to play... If you're in a bad spot, you have to play... You have to look for the only way that you could win and then play for it. So, in a bad spot, play to win.
Not a good start for his tournament. Not a good start for his tournament.
Not a good start for their tournament. Good start for my tournament. Hey, I lost round 1 to that rock player that won a Modern Challenge once, but not this time. We got our revenge against Rock. I think if you take the draw against this deck, that I think it's favored. I think my sideboarding might be incorrect with these miscallers. Maybe they should be deprives. I'm not sure. I mean, miscaller helped us in both games, so maybe a random 1-1 is not too bad, especially on the draw when they're playing with Liliana the Veil. Yeah, so there's some truth to that. Okay, this week's giveaway is going to be, well, we got Curse Catcher serving a lantern from Lantern Control. If you want to be eligible for this giveaway, go check out the description below. We're going to thank all my patrons supporting me on Patreon, and we're going to thank our sponsor, themanabase.com. This has been Nikachu and his brother playing Merfolk in Modern.